Shorty, tell me more about your service with the Winston-Salem Fire Department.
I went to the fire department after a 5-year wait. I put in my application, but I could not be employed because my father-in-law was a firefighter at that time. And so in 1959, he had a heart attack. And so he was retired. They retired him on disability. And so then I got a call that my application was still in effect because I'd already had my physical and everything, and wanted to know if I was still interested, and I said yes. So I went to work at Engine 6 on Academy Street, 1717 West Academy Street. I was there for 2 years and a half. Then I was transferred to Reynolds Station, which was fire police at that time. I went there as a full-time driver. But the way we worked, we had minimal station personnel, and we would respond on a call, and then the fire police would meet us there and assume the duties of a firefighter. Then I took a promotional exam at the end of 5 years and was promoted to sergeant. I went to Engine 3, which was at that time our highest running company. From there I went to Engine 5 with the rank of lieutenant. And at that time I was transferred to headquarters, where I worked as administrative assistant to Chief Crim, starting off with Dixon and Chief Williams and then Chief Crim. And I continued that until '74. And then I went to Engine 11 on Waltown Street, Waltown and Cole Road, as the station captain. At that time, we only had a captain, one captain per station, captain, lieutenant, sergeant, and then firefighters. I was there for a good while, and then I went to Engine 2, I went to Engine 2, yes, and was in charge of Engine 2 for a while. Then I went back to Renola Road, and then back to 11, which I retired from there. Had a lot of experiences that a lot of the firemen did not get. I got to go to the National Emergency Services Academy. I got to go to the Municipal Fire Administration School in Chapel Hill, and then, of course, the North Carolina Fire College, and various other schools and whatnot. I had the good fortune of being able to take work through 5 community colleges. They were usable both in civilian life and in the fire service. Saw the transition from the integration, then saw the integration by race, by sex, saw that change.
Were the stations, the black stations were in the black communities, and did y'all?
No, you only had one black station. It was Engine 4.
Okay.
And it was finally changed. They used a cadre of white firefighters and officers to train with them. And then they were transferred back to their companies. Then when the all-black company started, that was Chief Irvin was the chief, and then you had R.O. Black was the lieutenant, Raphael Black, and then Chick Carter was the sergeant, Sergeant Greer, Robert Greer, and others. Then when they chose to do the integration, they moved these men out into various companies, and Some went to fire prevention, whatnot. And then, of course, we went through a series of promotions, and Chief Irvin eventually became the chief. Then Chief Black became assistant chief. Wendell Brown, he became an assistant chief also. And so that was the beginning of a real integration process. And I had the pleasure of working with these men. And it never created problems that the naysayers wanted to put to it. Same way with when we brought in the female firefighters. Our first female firefighter eventually became an assistant chief. And so it was a learning curve for everybody. I worked with a man at Engine 5, worked with him at Engine 11, and he became excuse me, a little lapse there. He became the fire marshal, Donald Scales. And so it was just a gradual process, and it's still going on today.
Right. Did you do any training of any sorts?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, training was always prevalent. Inspections and things like that. We had training at Charlotte Fire Department drill grounds. We had training at Greensboro Fire Grounds. And in Charlotte, they had a natural gas line running through their facilities, so we got natural gas training there and things like that. And stuff that we didn't have here. We had a small training facility off of Link Road, which was the old abattoir. And then they finally built a fire training tower over there.
Is there anything that stands out over your years of spectacular fire, or just something that you could tell us that?
There's a lot of, well, there's no such thing as a non-spectacular fire, because that can bite you.
Right.
But we had a fire at the telephone office, burned the third floor off. That was quite unique. And then, of course, we had larger fires. And when the furniture company up there burned, the school had a school that burned. Then the fires that always stand out are those where you have fatalities. It's just something that you retain. You don't forget them. And of course you have situations where you have some of the men get hurt. And I think the biggest change is not to deprecate any of the older firefighters, but the quality of the men now is so much higher. They're better educated and whatnot. But the equipment has even surpassed that. And when I started, you only have one air pack per truck, breathing apparatus. And now they have one for each man. Communications equipment is so much better. You had to remember where all the fire boxes were, the old pool boxes. You did not have the communications abilities that you have now. So everything has moved up, and I myself, I lost part of my lung because of something I ingested. It was caused a malignancy, which they removed it, and you were always subject to getting bruises and beats and bangs, but throughout the equipment has improved.